so it started this new thing that we've been on lately on what do we need to know? What are the challenges that we're going to face when we do this? What are some of these deep topics that we need to know and understand as we go and start sharing our faith? What are going to be these hard, difficult topics or challenges that we might get faced with? Things that we may question ourselves, things that we may experience in our own life, and we have questions and we have questions about, and we've been starting this process of going through and approaching those in Scripture to see how God's Word stands up to all these topics. God's Word still stand. We just finished up talking about the Trinity, and we found that the Trinity is found throughout Scripture, all through Scripture. We find the doctrine of the Trinity to be held up through Scripture. And last week we started the topic of if God is a God of love, how is there suffering? If God is a God of love, how can there be suffering? This is a common topic that comes up, and it causes questions, and it causes doubts. It causes challenges towards our faith. And so this is something that we need to address. And again, like I shared with y'all last week, before coming to this, I thought of Kirk and Stephanie. I thought that how they were so equipped to be able to share this, how they've been such an inspiration to me, and how they have been so encouraging to me lately and hearing their stories. So last week we heard the first part of their story, and today let's welcome them up as they come to finish the rest of their story. Can this one be turned on, John? Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. Just got to do something, so.
Jake, we may need the microphone closer to Stephanie, unless you're doing something different.
She has the
She's doing it on
yeah,
that.
Hello? Is that good? Okay.
Is this working?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm old school. No computer stuff. It's all my crazy notes. Yeah. All right. As Pastor said last week, we were talking about why does God allow suffering, and we'll be talking about that again this week. And before we do, we want to try to sing us a song. As those who don't know, I do have Parkinson's with dystonia and causes involuntary movements, and I've had a lot of them. It's been a tougher week, but if I take too much of my medication, then I get other kind of movements. So I have to, it's a balance. So we'll try singing this. If it doesn't work out right now, maybe we'll pop a dopamine and then try again later once it's in my system again. This song, you know, I've never been much of a singer or notes or anything, music, I don't know any of that kind of thing, but I know one time I was really struggling with the Lord, and I'll get into that later. But this song was out of some time with the Lord where I was really asking him, where in the world are you? And I need you, the world needs you, there's so much suffering, where are you? And then the Lord just kind of flipped it and started asking me, where are you? And I'll get into that later, but we wanted to try to sing it now, and then we'll get into the rest of it. So we'll see if I can get the right start here. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Jesus, I can't see you. Jesus, I can't feel you. Where are you? Where are you? Mothers are crying, babies are dying. Where are you? Where are you? Bombs are bursting, children are thirsting. Where are you? Where are you? Don't you care at all? Fathers sigh, women die. Where are you? Where are you? Leaders lie, missiles fly. Where are you? Where are you? Don't you care at all? My people, I can't see you. My people, I can't feel you. Where are you? Where are you? My people, I can't see you. My people, I can't feel you. Where are you? Where are you? Don't you care at all? Mothers cry, babies die. Where are you? Where are you? Countries are raging, old men are saying, where are you? Where are you? Fathers sigh, bullets fly. Where are you? Where are you? Don't you care at all? My word is neglected, hearts unaffected. You care no more, you ignore the poor. My people aren't seeking, my people aren't obeying. They sacrifice no more, riches kept in store. I can't see you, I can't feel you. Where is your love? Look again above. My people, I can't see you. My people, I can't hear you. Praying no more, no knocking at my door. Don't you care at all? My people, wake up, my people, wake up. Don't sleep anymore, don't sleep anymore. My people, wake up, my people, wake up. Don't sleep anymore, don't sleep anymore, don't sleep anymore. My people, I don't see you. My people, I don't hear you. Where are you? Where are you? Don't you care at all?
Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
I thought you said you couldn't sing.
If I can't, God's good, so God's good. For several years, our family used to run a nonprofit that was that helped orphans and vulnerable children in different places around the world, and it was all of our children were involved, and grandparents, and a lot of our family friends, and we're all volunteers, and just with the desire the Lord had placed upon our heart to help children, and see, I lost my train of thought. Like last time. And so, like I said, we were all volunteers, and we wanted to help. And because of that, it gave us a lot of experiences, hearing different stories. We would help children directly overseas, but then we'd help organizations that also helped children overseas. And so there was a couple times that we were able to head over to Kenya, and then just from our past travelings and stuff, you start seeing that the suffering in the world, it's like we have a lot of suffering, of course, here in Tok. We have a lot of suffering here in the States and so-called developed countries. And, but when there's a whole new, I don't know if it's called level, but when you head overseas and you start dealing with families and children, and, you know, I know at one point I had the opportunity over extended time to get to know some street children. And, you know, and you see them sleeping on the street. I've had to use phone booths before with a child sleeping on the concrete at my feet. And we're up at 7,000 feet high, 50 degrees, raining, and they just have a little something over them. And I know one time I was holding little girls, she and I got to know each other, and we spent a lot of time together, and she was a street child, and as we were walking, someone picked up a stone and threw it at her. And a lot of these children, just in Ethiopia alone, in the capital city, in Addis Ababa, there's approximately 60,000 street children. And then you go to Nairobi, the capital of Kenya, and then you go all across the world. China, the young girls in the rural brought into the cities for human trafficking. And as it is in so much in our country, and then you go Dominican Republic, and on and on and on. And when you are facing these children face to face and you're holding them, your heart just breaks. You do whatever you can to help as many as you can, but your heart just absolutely breaks, especially when you got to leave them behind. You do what you can, but then you have to just trust them to the Lord. And I know that a lot of the children, of course, live in bus stops. A lot of them live out. A lot of them live in the sewers. And try to get out of the elements, get some heat, protect themselves from perpetrators. And then when the rains come, not all of them get out. A lot of them drown. And I know I got to spend some time with the little boy, and he'd play. And when I'd pass this one corner, and his mother would smile at me and she was a prostitute. She would be soliciting as he played at her feet. And he loved bubble gum, so I'd give him bubble gum. And it's like, Lord, why? And we had a neighbor one time. She was a little girl, about 10 years old, that her parents had died. Her aunt took her in, but she took her in as a slave. And she had her 3 little girls that she treated, they were clean, nice clothes, toys. They were one of the wealthier families. And then this little girl was in rags and dirty. And when they would go on trips, she would leave them with the men. And we tried to get her freed and into an orphanage that we were helping so she could get an education, and she wouldn't. And so we had to leave her behind. And it just breaks your heart. And it's like, Lord, we praise your name for the donations. We praise your name for the help. We praise your name for what you have allowed us to do, and the food that you've done. It was all him. Even the plane tickets. It's like, Lord, you provided. You are amazing and loving, and you asked us to go. But it just breaks your heart. It's like, why? And I know one time Seth and I were in Kenya, a bunch of slum children, and there was one little girl in particular, and I was holding her, and she was weak, and we've played with other children with HIV, and I thought this little girl, she was thin, and she was acting sick, and I couldn't tell if she was also maybe a AIDS baby or had HIV, and or something else. And as I was holding her, someone had donated food for the children, so a big meal was prepared, and we gave her some. And then all of a sudden, she started to get up and walk. She started to play, and we realized that she was just starving. And So we were able to find the family, and it was a young mother and grandma with 3 little children and just a little shack trying to make it. And by God's grace, someone had donated money, so we were able to leave them with a lot of food. But again, it's like, Lord, that food will run out. That food will run out. And then what are they going to do? And so that's where this song came from. It was one day during my devotions, I was just sitting there, where in the world are you, Lord? Where are you? And I just, it's like, I can't see what you're doing. I can't feel it. I can't anything. And I do see the little things. I'm holding on to those. I saw the plane tickets miraculously paid for. I've seen donations. And we ran the organization where we did not tell anybody the need. We just educated people, and then we did not tell them the need. And the Lord always brought just what we needed, just at the right time. And sometimes there was like 3 times where extra money came in, and it was like, okay, what's this for? Sure enough, like partway through the month, there would be something that needed that exact money. So we saw the Lord's hand in his loving care. But during this time, my devotions, I just started writing this just for myself, just for a way, I guess, to vent and kind of chew out, not kind of, I was chewing out the Lord. It's like, I don't get this, Lord. But then he started to change it. And he started saying, but where are you, Stephanie? Are you doing everything you can in faith? Because God's not limited by God. We limit him by not believing him, by not stepping out in faith. I know I am a huge doubter. Trusting him is like a major thing, but trust is not a feeling, it's a choice. And he's willing to enable us. So we need to make that choice again and again. And then he started flipping the song. He was like, but where are you, Stephanie? Where are my people? And, yesterday it was interesting. I was in the woods kind of going over some of this and praying about some of this, and Michael would check on me and make sure I hadn't fallen or something, I was by the outhouse, so Jonathan probably was wondering why Mom was back there talking to herself, but anyways, but God just really impressed upon something in my mind, that there are, and I had never thought about this before, but right now, there's approximately 2.5 billion people who claim to be Christian. They claim to be followers of Jesus. And right now, there's 8.3 billion people on this earth. So 2.5 billion Christians, 8.3 billion people on this earth. I'm not a math person, so I went to him, and that comes out to, if each Christian just went and helped 4 people, tangibly told them about Christ, showed them the love of Christ. Just 4 people. Even if those people didn't accept Christ, how much suffering would be alleviated? Street children, homeless, here overseas, how much suffering? And I know with the Great Awakenings, there's several Great Awakenings in Europe and here, and they talk about again and again that when Christians wake up, when Christians lay their life before the Lord and say, hey, Lord, please, please show me what you'd have me do out of love, because you're a God of love, and you laid your life down on that cross. So I want to lay down my life out of love to you and thankfulness for what you did for me when you didn't have to. And if we all laid our life before the Lord, then what would happen in this world? And it doesn't matter if we're disabled. That if he allows us to have a disability, he doesn't give it to us, but if he allows it, there's a reason for that. Because that can reach millions. Right now, at any given time, 1 billion people in the world that are disabled. 1 billion disabled people in this world. And I know I've seen them overseas many times where they don't have wheelchairs, they don't have crutches, and they literally are dragging themselves, full men, women, children, dragging themselves on the ground through the dirt, through the gravel, on the cement, and they put old rubber tires on their hands, their knees, elbows, to drag themselves so they're not ripping the skin as they go. And I know that when we were walking by them, and I have crutches, or I have cane, or something like that, it immediately opens up a door, and all the boundaries and barriers are gone, because they know I have just a glimpse, just a teeny glimpse of the horrible suffering that they have to go through with no medication, no treatment, nothing, and no mobility tools. And so it opens up a whole new door to a lot of people. So if you're disabled, that's not a barrier. It's actually something the Lord can use in a huge way. And same with age. I know a lot of times it's easy to think, oh, if I'm getting too old, oh no, it doesn't matter. That actually is just the same. People who are older can do things that younger people can't do in a lot of different circumstances, and they can reach a whole different group of people. So there is no disability, no age, no too young, no too old. All the Lord needs is just a willing heart, a heart out of love and thankfulness to Him, to ask Him. And not to say, hey, okay, Stephanie, for me to look at my life and say, I'm doing pretty good. Not to assess ourselves, but to ask the Lord, Lord, am I doing what you want me to do? Because I want to give my life to you out of love, out of thankfulness. And I know that Kirk's going to read Psalm, this one right here, Eddie.
Psalm 46:10. It says, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
And this verse really, the Lord has used this a lot with me, because I like to do. And I see the need. But you know, I know that I've talked about in the past that when I was 15, I came to know and love the Lord, and then I left the Lord because I started looking at Christians in particular, Christian leaders, just Christians across the board, and said, and some were purposefully being mean and some weren't. But I was looking at them and saying, if that's what Christianity is, I don't want it. And I know one thing that really breaks my heart is I've done the same. People have looked at me at different times, and here I was living Christian, and I think how many people I turned away from Christ. Because I was thinking, 2.4 billion Christians and 8.3 billion people in the world. Yes, each of us, if we went out to reach 4 people, but if we're not living as we should, we can also turn away 4 people, and how many other hundreds, thousands. And so the Lord really put this verse on my mind, because if we're not being in a relationship with Him, first and foremost, then the doing is not going to do what we want it to do. In fact, it can do a whole lot of damage to the cause of Christ. We must be in Him before we do for Him. We must be in Him before we do for Him. We must be in a relationship. We must be still. Take that time for devotions. Take that time to talk to Him. Take that time to read the Word. Take that time to get to know Him. And it doesn't say do. It says be still and know. Then He will be exalted. Have to be first and then do. And I know for myself, do, and then the Lord will be like, hey, you're losing your connection with me. I need you to go back. Because if it's not done in Christ's love with the Holy Spirit doing it through us, people see it, people know it. But when it is, people know it and people see it. And so we need to be first and then do. And it goes also with, would you read that, please?
James?
Yeah. And if my talking gets too choppy, let me know, and I'll take another dopamine, and then we'll see if yeah. But like I said, then I can get movements sometimes if I get too much the other way. So
I'm going to read James 4:4, the latter part of it. It says, anyone who chooses to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God.
And Lord was reminding me also of that, and he's used that many times. God says or. It is God or the world. Satan says and. You can have the world and you can be a Christian. You can do both. Do whatever you want. But God says or. Not out of being mean, but out of being loving God, because he knows that or is saving us from a whole lot of hurt, and it's saving us from doing a whole lot of hurt. And so we cannot be friends with the world as far as doing all the stuff that the word says not to do. Don't meddle with, don't get around. We need to be going to the Lord and again, just laying our life before him and saying, okay, Lord, not only what would you have me do, look at my life. Please tell me. Please show me somehow, because if we're listening, he'll get through to us one way or another, and it'll never go against the word. But he will get through to us one way or another, and he will show us, hey, you know what? This is what's hindering your life. This may cause others to stumble. This may cause others to leave Christ. So make sure you're in the word. Make sure you are the or. Only God, and don't listen to Satan's lie that is and. And this is, sorry, sometimes my tongue stops. I gotta wait for the signal to get through. So, sorry. I might need a dopamine, sorry. I'm almost done, but just gotta chew it up real quick. Thank you. By the way, we play sometimes ping pong with Seth and Chantal, and I get to a point where my movements almost stop. And I'll tell Seth, I gotta pop a dopamine. And it's a neurotransmitter, then it gets the signal from my brain to my muscles. And within about 10 minutes, I know at one point I started to win, and Seth's like, give me one of those things.
You're doing good.
I appreciate it. God's good. So to be a friend of Jesus, not a friend of the world. Satan is not love. Whatever he puts out there with the world, it is not love. God is love. And he wants his people. How much suffering do we cause God when he's like, okay, I need you to go help that child, or I need you to go to Timbuktu or wherever. And it is a real place, by the way. I always use that phrase, but it is a real place. But going to anywhere in the world, and then we turn around and we're like, Lord, but I have to leave the house, or maybe I don't. It's too hard to travel. I've done it many times. And then the Lord knows how much suffering those children that weren't fed, those children that weren't told about Jesus, and how his heart breaks. And then we turn around and say, oh, look at the suffering. How dare you, God? How cruel you are. But he's sitting there crying, saying, but look it, I know there's sin in the world. I know Satan. I know the choices that humans have made. But if you would all just live as you were supposed to with my followers, yes, there would still be heartbreak. Yes, there's still tribulation. Yes, there's still persecution from Satan. But how much suffering would be stopped? And that's what, again, the Great Awakenings. That's what happened when people gave their life to Christ. Just all of a sudden, the communities, the suffering, just in a major way, the towns changed, and the suffering and everything just became so much better. And so if the Lord asks you, and we lay our lives out, and we're spending time with him, and we're saying, Lord, what would you have you do? Just because he's asking us, just like the Lord's asking Pastor and his family and so many others to be in Tok or be in Alaska, it doesn't mean can't be overseas too and taking trips or doing other things, just like Guatemala. There's many things the Lord may ask us to do from one place. And I know that at one point we were in Alaska doing some things up here the Lord asked us to do and doing foster care, and we were building on a project the Lord wanted us to do. And the Lord just kept impressing again and again, you need to sponsor a sponsorship. And for those who aren't familiar with sponsorship, like World Vision, Compassion International, there's many organizations where they will find like a community, and they'll have all the poor children who are very vulnerable or orphaned, and then they'll take photos of them, they'll connect them with the local church, and the local church will run a program. And then here in the States or other countries, then we can sponsor that child. We can send maybe $30, $40, $50, whatever it is each month to the organization, and then they in turn will give it to the local community program, and they'll oversee it to make sure everything's accountable. And then that child will be given food. That child will be given medical care. That child will be told about Christ and have a church to support them in a weekly Bible studies and Christmas parties. And also, a lot of countries say they have free school, but you still have to pay for the uniform, and you have to pay for your own school supplies. And poor children, that is a huge barrier. They can't afford that. Their families can't, so they can't go to school. So these programs a lot of times will pay for the uniform and the clothes, or the uniform and the thank you, the supplies, and so the Lord was impressing us to do this. And I had grown up, my mother had sponsored a child all the way since I was very little, from India, boy, all the way till the time he was graduated. And that made a huge effect on me. And when we were first married, we had sponsored a child. And so I was really struggling with this, because every bit of money that the Lord was bringing in to us was going towards building, was going towards a lot of different things, going for stuff overseas. It was just like, okay, Lord, every penny is being going to all these things, and now you want us to sponsor a child. And the Lord's like, no, I want you to sponsor 10.
Yeah.
And I struggled for months, and I was like, Lord, what are you trying to tell me? And slowly but surely, he just kept impressing and showing me different ways. 10. I want you to sponsor 10. So I went to Kirk and the kids, and they're all like, same thing as me. And I can't remember who asked, but they're like, will this affect our food? And I don't know if they were worried the ketchup was going to disappear and the money we used for the kids. And there are times where the Lord will ask us to sacrifice, but the Lord at that point just kept impressing me, this won't affect your family. Just step out in faith. And you look at how many of you may know George Mueller and England, Bristol, England, and thousands of children, orphans, were helped in faith. And the Lord's like, I just want you to do 10. So I told the kids, no, it won't affect your meals. It'll be fine. It won't affect anything. And so we set it up with auto renewal with the credit card, and then we just pay it off each month. And I was like, okay, Lord. And that was 9 years ago now, 2017.
Yeah.
That was 9 years ago. We now have 11. And God's still supplying the money. Some of these children were 1.5, some were 9. And now they're 18, 15, and they now are writing to us, because we also get to write them and them write us, and them encouraging us in the Lord. And they're believers, and they love the Lord, and they can write themselves. And I know one just turned 18, and she was able to graduate with computer technology. And she wrote just praising God and saying, imagine, I'm a woman. She's in Africa, and she said, imagine, I'm a woman, and I know the computer. And she now can support herself and then her family in the future. And she and the other children, because they're from many countries, it's just such an encouragement to me. And I know I've had some down days these last couple years, and I would get their letter, and they'd be just again and again, they'd have a verse, and they'd be like, we love you, thank you so much, and here's a verse, keep going, and encourage me. And I'm thinking, here, Lord, you're doing all the supplying. All I have to do is write and enjoy their update photos, but it's like, Lord, you're the one supplying all the money, everything, and I get all the blessing. And it just is like his love. And he loves those children so much. And there's thousands and thousands of sponsored children waiting to be sponsored right now. And so that's another way, sponsoring. I mean, there's so many ways that the Lord can use each of us, the homeless. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And, but you know, a couple days ago, I was sitting there thinking something with finances, and guess what I started to worry about? Lord, how's that going to get covered? How is all those sponsorships going to get covered? And I'm like, Stephanie, here, he's been faithful for 9 years. And it's like, the Lord's like, okay, bring that into check, Stephanie. You need to choose trust. And he's faithful. He's love. And we can't let Satan loves to use our feelings. He loves to use circumstances to control us. I always think of the little child, you see if you've seen them maybe in pictures, or you've seen them for real, where they'll have the big ox, the big water buffalo, and they'll have the little ring in the ox's nose, and you'll have a little child leading it. And that sensitive area, he can lead that buffalo wherever he wants. And I often think our feelings are that ring. And Satan likes to just pull us wherever he wants us to go. Sets up circumstances, gives us a feeling, and all of a sudden it's like, oh Lord, where are you? What happened? And I do that all the time. I'm horrible for that. But we have to think. We have to go by what the Word says. And that's why it's so important to have a relationship, to know what the Word says, so we can turn around with Christ enabling the Holy Spirit's power and say, no. The Word says this, God is love. I'm not going to be yanked around by Satan. I'm going to go with Christ. I'm going to use my thinking here, and I'm going to make a choice. And God, please enable me. And so that way, fear does not control us, but Christ we make the decision for him, and then he leads us out of love, because his way is love. And so I just want to encourage each and all of us, and this is not a judgment call, by any means, because I am telling you what the Lord's been showing me and bringing to me. For me to look at my life, for me, because it's very easy to say, Lord, I can't talk very good anymore. I can't do things much anymore. And then the Lord's been impressed me. You need to get up and speak. I was like, no. And Lord, especially one Sunday as pastor was talking, Lord kept impressing, you need to get up and speak. Like, Lord, sometimes I can't speak. I lose everything. It's like, you need to get up and speak, Stephanie. I was like, okay, Lord, you bring Pastor or Amanda or somebody today at the end of the service. And I said, you have them ask me to speak. And, us, me, didn't matter. It's like, Lord, just please do it. And I thought it was pretty safe, right? And then guess who showed up? And he had been impressed with that morning, the morning before, and to have us get up here. And so as soon as he asked us, it was like, whoa. And I told him right away, I'm like, do you know what just happened? So step out in faith. Yes, my hands are shaking, not from Parkinson's, but from fear of being up here. And step out in faith. He'll enable. And whatever he asks you to do, just lay your life down. Laying your life in his hands. It's not a scary thing. He's God of love. He's the good shepherd. It's the safest place to lay your life. Lay your life down before him and say, Lord, what would you have me do? And we will be amazed. We will be amazed at how much suffering will be alleviated. And not only in heaven will we see the results, but we will see it down here. And so I think that's all I've got to say. Not a gradual, smooth ending, but I just want y'all to know that God does love you. And I really appreciate you letting us come up and speak, and also just being patient and encouraging also. So we really, really appreciate it. And God's good too. So.